Hello everyone, welcome to another Grimgar video. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the relics in Grimgar. I have made shorts talking about the relics in Grimgar, but I've never actually gone into a large video and gone into detail and just explained the relics from top to bottom. I'm going to talk about every single relic that we are aware of, and there are some times where we're going to find some relics that we don't know how they work or what they do. I'll try to do my best and speculate on those, but for the most part, I'm just going to talk about every single relic that has been shown in Grimgar, or every single relic that has also been implied to be a relic in Grimgar. Keep in mind that I am not caught up with the newest light novels, and I'm trying to not because I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible, so there might be spoilers. I am using Grimgar's Wikipedia, which, by the way, for all of you who are a part of the Wikipedia community who updated Wikipedia and everything, I know I've seen some of you in my comment section. Hi, thank you so much for keeping everything up to date, making corrections, and just staying on top of things. I really appreciate it. But there might actually be some relics in here that are spoilers for me, and there will be spoilers for you. I'm okay with it. I'm gonna deal with it. I'm gonna try to not be too shocked if I see some stuff that I haven't checked, because I haven't looked at the page yet. This is me currently going and looking at the page after months of not looking at it. So it might be updated, so we might get volume 20 and 21 spoilers, just an FYI. And if you enjoy videos like this, hit the like button, share, tell me in the comments down below, and let's get into it. Before I do actually get into it, I should probably explain what a relic actually is for the uninitiated. The term relic is used as shorthand for basically magical items, or items that were created before, modern times that were left for centuries, basically. Each relic has what is known as ether inside of it. Ether is what I like to picture like Sunny D looking energy that just kind of is in the item that powers the ability it has. Some relics have 1 to 2 uses. Some relics have a lot of uses. Some relics have weird uses that can be recharged, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of kept vague. I am not going to go into known relics from top to bottom of the list. This list is in no particular order. So the first relic we ever see in the entirety of Grimgar is the giant mysterious tower, which I'll get to that later. But that one is not the first thing we talk about on this list. The first one we're talking about, funny enough, is golem cores. Golem cores are these little balls that are put inside of, golems that are also undead and a bunch of corpses put together. And it turns them, I was gonna say it turns them on. I don't want to say it that way. It works as its own dedicated soul. It also works as their heart and their brain. So if it breaks, it's just dead. It's gone now. And it's not a real soul. It's like a pseudo soul. It can think for itself, kind of, but also needs direction. What's good about it is that as long as it's not destroyed, the golem will retain its memories, and if it has any feelings, it'll retain those too for its entire life, and can theoretically be rebuilt. For example, Satora still has Enma's soul, and she actually plans on rebuilding him eventually, but I don't think she ever gets around to it. The design of the core is basically like a little ball that has a bunch of small holes in it, and you can see little blue lights coming out of it. It's kind of like what's holding the soul in. Now, I don't know if this relic is particularly different than other relics, because I don't know if it could run out of energy, because, it needs ether. And this is what I was talking about, where it's very vague. I don't know how many, actions will it take for the relic to run out of energy, or if it ever does run out of energy. It's really vague with how ether works in Grimgar, and I don't really know. According to necromancers in the Hidden Village, you can actually read the soul of the golem from the flickers of those lights on the core itself, which interesting. So I guess there is some kind of level of personality to these things as well. Going from that complicated relic to this next one, the receiver. It's the thing that Haruhiro carries around his neck. It's like a little necklace to him. It's shaped like a crystal. It's like a one-way cell phone, basically. Sender is the other side of the receiver. Soma has a sender, and essentially he can talk into it and send out a message to all the receivers that are connected to it. Soma has not sent any messages to Haruhiro in a long time. So we don't know if either Soma is in a different world, because we know that the receiver usually doesn't work in other worlds too, unless you're close to an entrance to Grimgar, or the relic itself might be out of energy. Again, very vague, as Grimgar is. It likes to be vague. It likes to imply things through showing you instead of telling you sometimes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it makes it annoying. The next relic is the door to Pirano. This door is interesting because I'm pretty sure it's a door that not only goes to Pirano, I'm pretty sure it goes to other places in the universe as well, depending on what keys you put inside of it. This door is found in the Leslie camp, which in itself is also probably also a relic. And the next relic we'll talk about is the universal keys. I mentioned them a little earlier. They're essentially a bunch of keys in one ring, And whatever keys you put into the door, that key will disappear. You gotta put another key. And usually it's like, I think it was like a 2 or 3 keys and they started to disappear. I theorize the keys are essentially, depending on what order you put the keys in, will send you to a different world depending on which keys you put in. Now, I wish the keys look different to like tell you which kind of world you're going to. All the keys are described to be very, very similar. After a key is used, it turns into black mist, by the way. And again, these keys are found in the Leslie camp. The next relic we're going to talk about is the one that's caused so much controversy, so much argument, and so much disagreement and misunderstandings in the community. The memory erasing drug making relic. So this relic apparently is something that makes the drug that causes people to have their memories erased, which again, I don't like that description because it's technically not erased, it's more suppressed. And I will argue that to my dying breath, people's memories are being suppressed because they keep popping back up, so therefore they're not erased. This relic makes the drug and is something that Leslie has on him and he's been using it on every single volunteer soldier that has come into Grimgar. And it has been such a problem since day one. We have no idea what it looks like, we just know that it makes some kind of drug. I will theorize without much evidence. I will say I do think the more you use it on someone, the less effective on that person it is. At least that's what I think. I could be entirely wrong. We'll see. The next relic is the Paw of Terror. It's that thing that Hayamu has on her hair. It's basically a weapon that Leslie gave to her, and she is the one who named it. Despite being fist-sized and looking like a stuffed animal, it can do serious damage, and blunt damage, mind you. It did enough damage to actually knock Kusuku out while he was wearing armor. The next relic, it's also a weapon, is the Beheader. This is a sword owned by Shinohara, the The way it's described is a smallish longsword with a dual tip. And it doesn't really seem to be described as anything interesting looking. Judging by the way that Shinohara actually talks about it, it seems to have more effects. My theory is the sword is strong enough to cut through basically anything that it swings at. To complement his shield that I'll talk about later on, this sword was given to Shinohara, the by Leslie. This next one is another one that has no name, but it's considered the Magic Punch, an unnamed relic that was given to Hayamu by Leslie. The only description we have of this weapon is that it seems to be able to store more energy than it physically looks like it can. It's essentially a small relic that doesn't look like it can do much, but it can punch surprisingly hard. The next relic is called the Portal Bud. The Portal Bud is essentially like this tiny little bud thing as it sounds. You push the top of it and you throw it down, and it creates a portal to the receiver, which is unknown what that looks like, but essentially it opens a portal that you can go back and forth from. These portal buds were used by Haruhiro when Hayamu gave him one. The portal itself doesn't last that long, and the relic can only be used one singular time, which is kind of sad. The next relic we're going to talk about is Jin Magus' magical bullshit ring. You know Jin Magus? This ring was given to him, of course, by Aaron Leslie. Why are the bad guys all getting free shit? This ring is described as having a small little ball on top of it, and in the ball there are 3 little like petals. Whenever the ring is used, it essentially absorbs the energy of everyone around them, including allies, and gives it to the actual user. It makes them really, really powerful. Jin Magus used this once against Haruhiro, and once in the middle of a bunch of volunteer soldiers. He absorbed the energy from the entirety of Haruhiro's party and his honor guard they had with him, and he became really, really strong. When he used it in a crowd of volunteer soldiers, he became so fucking fast that he couldn't be perceived by Renji and anybody else. He was a blur of energy running around killing things. But luckily, he got stabbed through the chest because he's too stupid to look behind him while he has all this overpowered energy. God, I fucking hate that guy. This next relic, like some of the other things I talked about, is extremely vague. Earn Leslie's spiral staircase that he has in his base. Shinohara describes it as basically an open space that was neither bright nor dark, with nothing resembling walls, just a spiral staircase. Truly, Shinohara is a poet. Thank you. We have no idea what the staircase is made of because it's not made of iron or stone. I'm guessing this spiral staircase lets him control where people go in his base. So if someone goes up the staircase, he can like force them to go to a different direction than they were initially intending to go. Or it could help them find wherever they want to go. I'm not sure. It's just a vague staircase thingy. Next relic is the Raggerfall, an armor that Renji gets after he essentially loses one of his teammates to dragons, and he fought a giant monster wearing it, and then the armor kind of fell off the monster, and climbed onto his body, and now he just got armor. The armor seems to have some level of self-awareness, and whenever he utters certain specific words to activate it, it makes him faster, stronger, and he has a giant cloud of purple electricity around him, which looks really cool, I will say. I don't like Renji too much, but he do look good in that armor. What makes the electricity that comes off this armor kind of interesting is able to chase down enemies to some extent. And it's smart enough to be able to not attack his friends. So the electricity only targets enemies, which is really useful. The negative, however, is that it sucks up like Renji's energy and makes him really tired afterwards, and he has to take a nap. And it's even implied that if he uses it twice in a row, it could possibly kill him. Or if the armor is left activated for too long, it can also possibly kill him, because of course it can. The one other thing that Irregular has is the ability to just kind of blow off the user. So if, say, Renji wants to take it off in an emergency, he can just mentally tell it to fuck off, and it jumps right off his body. And as I mentioned earlier, next relic, Shinohara's Guardian Shield relic. I have no idea what this thing really does. It's, again, very vague. But what we do know is at one point, the Lich King shot a projectile that shot through volunteer soldiers, amounts of sand in the area they were fighting in, walls, it just went through everyone like it was nothing. Pure, just nothing. To me, it seemed like it was like an antimatter kind of shot. It just turned everything, it hit into the black gunk. It killed them very easily. Shinohara ran at this Lich using this projectile at him, activated his shield, and it blocked the incoming attack. So either this shield negates magic, negates relics, or it just blocks any projectile that is shot directly at him. We don't really know, but it's probably one of the more overpowered relics on this list. Shinohara does admit that he wasn't sure if he could block that attack. He was kind of just winging it. The next relic, and this is another one of the more overpowered relics, the Lich King's Ring. This ring basically makes it so you kind of can't really die. While you're wearing this ring, it's going to keep you alive. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to age. You're just not going to die while wearing this ring. And I don't know what the ether cost for this thing is. I don't know if it drains a part of the user. But from what we know is the Lich had this ring on him and it kept him alive the entire time. But he was basically kind of disintegrating by that point. This ring might also have some extra properties because Shinohara was really fascinated by the center part of the ring and he couldn't stop looking at it. This could just be a reference to Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure, I'll be honest with you. This next relic is Leslie's kite. It's just a giant like platform ship thing that he just kind of has. It can just fly around. That's about it, honestly. It's big enough to fit 4 people and it has dark colors on it. That's all we got. Lastly, we got the ones that are probably relics but are not confirmed to be relics. Soma swords. Soma swords are just straight up like foldable katanas that look badass. Very blatantly like really well made katanas that even amateurs can see that they're really well made. The long katana seems to have the ability to make itself like longer because it was able to cut through 2-meter long thick tentacles. And unfortunately, the short katana has never actually been used, but since it's one of Soma's weapons and he's the strongest volunteer soldier, it's probably also a relic. Soma's armor, however, 100% a relic. One, it's got like a pulsing orange yellowish like light coming off of it constantly. It's spiky and skin tight and just honestly looks really cool. And it looks like a Dark Souls reference if I'm being entirely honest. According to Hadahiro, the armor looks like it's made of like thousands of little metal plates put together. And it most likely, this is me theorizing by the way, most likely is what makes him so much faster. It might be similar to a Raggarfall, except with less of an effect on the user. Maybe, or we don't know what the effect of the user might actually be. It could be an even worse effect. We have no idea. The next weapon is Lilia's sword. It's most likely a relic. We're not 100% sure. It is, however, very thin and is able to, again, just like Soma's swords, cut through 2-meter long, thick tentacles against the monster tentacle hydra things in the Dusk Realm. Another weapon that's most likely a relic is Chimera's sword. Very long, very cool looking, very awesome. And again, also is able to cut through basically giants and spearmen and hydras like nothing. One of the things I mentioned earlier is Eren and Leslie's camp. This is most likely a relic, mainly because it can cause a force field to keep people inside the camp. It has a like musical thing inside of it that lures people into it. It seems to be able to teleport anywhere in the world whenever it feels like it. Next one is one thing I actually forgot about if I'm being entirely honest. a black glass eye. Aaron Leslie has like this eyeglass thing in his head instead of actually having a normal eye. No idea what it does. Probably lets him spy on people, if I'm being entirely honest. Like, the guy seems like somebody who likes to keep track of people, so it wouldn't surprise me if this eye let him, like, see whoever he wanted. Aaron Leslie, of course, because he's the guy that has all the relics, also has a white bone staff that most likely amplifies his powers, gives him some new magical abilities, or something along those lines. The next one is the Lich King's Scepter. This thing was the thing that let him send giant fuck-off orbs. Well, not giant, they were small orbs. Like 3 projectiles that could rip through people, ground, rock, like nothing. It killed people instantly. It was terrifying. Next relic is the Lich King's Crown. No clue what this thing does. It's just decorated with some jewels, and for all I know, it could be the thing that helped the Lich King levitate. I couldn't tell you. Because Lich King was doing crazy shit like levitating, moving dirt around, flinging rocks at people. Like, honestly, if I had to take a guess, the crown is probably what let him fly around and levitate. And the next one is Kisaragi's left arm. For anybody who's curious, he's the main character from the spin-off book thing. This one, I had no interest in this thing, I'll be honest. I've talked about it in the past. I hate this character. He's essentially like the overpowered isekai protagonist sent into a world. The writer went as far as to make 3 books for this guy and just quit. It's not great. But essentially, it's just basically a robot. It's a robot arm. It moves as smoothly as a normal arm. It could have more abilities. Knowing this character, Kisaragi, it probably lets him like shoot Kamehamehas or some bullshit. I don't know. And legendary relics, because apparently they have those. Tempest Calling Ring. I don't remember this one, I'll be honest. A ring that is said to be able to call forth great tempests. So the legend says that Leslie once sold it to, oh yeah, I remember this. Once sold it to a rich merchant from Veal in exchange for his daughter and wife. It just lets him summon tornadoes and shit. That's pretty funny. Also, what the fuck? One last relic that I will put down that's not on the Wikipedia. And 2 more relics that probably should be on this list, but are not. One is the Mysterious Tower. I personally theorize the Mysterious Tower that everyone appears in Grimgar has some kind of connection to the multiverse that lets people get connected and get pulled into the world of Grimgar. It's where Aaron Leslie lives. So also, it gets surrounded by dark magic stuff around like volume 19. So I might have the ability to channel magic to some degree. And also Shihiru's unnamed relic that she used in volume 18. See it in the colors illustration with Shihiru, where she has it over her head. It seems to be able to help her control her magic better, or just give her more magic that gives her more abilities. Because that bitch was taking out whole armies, so it probably makes her a lot stronger. Hey everyone, this is me just at the very end of the video editing. I'm just about to export the video. I just want to say thank you so much for all your patience for the last couple months. It has been a hard last couple months. I just moved into a new apartment. My poodle Roxy almost died like this week. We got her to the hospital, or the vet, I mean, and we got her into a little surgery thing. She's fine now. I had a bunch of bills that I had to pay that weren't even mine. Long story. Let's not even get into that. And it's been a hard last month or so. Maybe last 2 months. So sorry if schedules have been kind of messy. I did actually mention this earlier, I think in August this is probably gonna happen, but I wasn't ready for it to happen this hard. So again, thank you guys so much for being patient. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for all of you that have been going over to my Twitch. I should probably also announce this. We finally hit 500 followers over my Twitch, we're actually gonna celebrate on October 12th by watching. Oh god, this is gonna be so terrible. We're gonna watch SAO, and we're turning SAO into a drinking game because all of my friends and me hate SAO. So we're gonna do a whole drinking game with a bunch of rules on October 12th, and we're gonna get pretty fucked up. I think we're gonna get through like maybe 2, maybe if we're lucky 3 episodes before we stop. It's gonna be on a Saturday. It's going to be fun. It's gonna have all of us just messing around. If you guys see me on my Twitch with my friends, you know we're pretty annoyingly loud and goofy, and we're gonna be just it's gonna be crazy. But anyway, thank you guys for watching again. I appreciate it. I hope to see you guys there on my Twitch. Thank you to RJ Has Problems, Tokabell, Naberto Games, Van_Hoovenstein, Dio098, Boobulu8, Josias93, Wisteria Hysteria, Gracie_, and Average Gamer_. Thank you all for your subscriptions. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great night, everyone.